हेलो एवरीवन। हम जॉन मिल्टन के बारे में डिस्कस कर रहे थे। आई एम रजनी मीना, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर, गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज रावतहटा। मिल्टन्स लीगेसी एंड इन्फ्लुएंस। वंस पैराडाइज लॉस्ट was published, Milton's stature as an epic poet was immediately recognized. He cast a formidable shadow on English poetry in the 18th and 19th century. He was often judged equal or superior to all other English poets, including Shakespeare. Very early on, though, he was championed by Whigs and decried by Tories. On the regicide, Edmund Ludlow, he was claimed as an early Whig, while the high Tory Anglican minister Luke Milburn lumped Milton in with other agents of darkness such as John Knox, George Buchanan, Richard Baxter, Algernon Sidney, and John Locke. The political ideas of Milton, Locke, Sidney, and James Harrison strongly influenced the radical Whigs, though whose ideologies in turn were central to the American Revolution. Modern scholars of Milton's life, politics, and works are known as Miltonist. His work is the subject of a very large amount of academic scholarship. In 2008, John Milton passes a short passage via Bread Street into St. Mary Le Bow churchyard in London was unveiled. Early reception of poetry. John Dryden, an early enthusiast in 1677, began the trend of describing Milton as the poet of the sublime. Dryden's The State of Innocence and the Fall of Man, an opera, is evidence of an immediate cultural influence. In 1695, Patrick Hume became the first editor of the Paradise Lost, providing an extensive apparatus of annotation and commentary, particularly chasing down allusions. In 1732, the classical scholar Richard Bentley offered a corrected version of Paradise Lost. Bentley was considered presumptuous and was attacked in the following year by Zachary Pierce. Christopher Ricks judges that as critic, Bentley was both acute and wrong-headed, and incorrigibly eccentric. William Emerson also finds Pierce to be more sympathetic to Bentley's underlying line of thought than is warranted. There was an early partial translation of Paradise Lost into German by Theodor Heck, and based on that, a standard verse translation by Ernest Gottlieb von Verge. A subsequent prose translation by Johann Jacob Bodmer was very popular. It influenced Friedrich Gottlieb Klopstock. The German language Milton tradition returned to England in the person of the artist Henry Fuseli. Many Enlightenment thinkers of the 18th century revered and commented on Milton's poetry and non-poetical work. In addition to John Dryden, among them were Alexander Pope, Joseph Addison, and Thomas Newton, Samuel Johnson. For example, in the Spectator, Joseph Addison wrote extensive notes, annotations, and interpretations of such passage of Paradise Lost. Jonathan Richardson the younger and senior, co-wrote a book of criticism. In 1749, Thomas Newton published an extensive edition of Milton's poetical works with annotation provided by himself, Dryden, Pope, Addison, the Richardson, Father and Son, and others. Newton's edition of Milton was a uh, culmination of the honor bestowed upon Milton by early Enlightenment thinkers. It may also have been prompted by Richard Bentley in famous edition described above. Samuel Johnson wrote numerous essays on Paradise Lost, and Milton was included in his lives of the eminent English poets. In the age of Louis XIV, Voltaire said, Milton remains the glory and wonder of England. William Blake considered Milton the major English poet. Blake placed Edmund Spenser as Milton's precursor and saw himself as Milton's poetical son. In his Milton, a poem in two books, Blake uses Milton as a character. Romantic theory. Edmund Burke was a theorist of the sublime, and he regarded Milton's description of hell as exemplary of sublimity as an aesthetic concept. For Burke, it was to set alongside mountain tops, a storm at sea, and infinity. In the beautiful and the sublime, he wrote, no person seems better to have understood the secret of heightening or of the setting terrible things, if I may use the expression, in their strongest light by the force of a judicious obscurity than Milton. The Romantic poets valued his exploration of languors, but for the most part rejected his religiosity. William Wordsworth began his sonnet London 1802 with Milton, thou shouldst be living at this hour, and modelled the prelude, his own blank verse epic, on Paradise Lost. John Keats found the yoke of Milton's style uncongeal. He exclaimed that Miltonic verse cannot be written but an artful, or rather artist humor. Keats felt that Paradise Lost was a beautiful and grand curiosity, but his own unfinished attempt at epic poetry. The Victorian age witnessed a continuation of Milton's influence. George Eliot and Thomas Hardy's being particularly inspired by Milton's poetry and biography. Hostile 20th century's criticism by T.S. Eliot and Ezra Pound did not reduce Milton's stature. F.R. Lewis, in The Common Pursuit, responded to the points made by Eliot, in particular the claim that the study of Milton could be of no help. It was only a hindrance, by arguing as if it were a matter of deciding not to study Milton. The problem rather was to escape from an influence that was so difficult to escape from because it was unrecognized, belonging as it did to the climate of the habitual and natural. Harold Bloom, in The Anxiety of Influence, wrote that Milton is the central problem in any theory and history of poetic influence in English. Milton's Areopagitica is still cited as relevant to the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. A quotation from Areopagitica: a good book is the precious lifeblood of a master spirit, embalmed and treasured up on purpose to a life beyond life, is displaying in many public libraries. including the New York Public Library. Literary legacy. Milton's use of blank verse, in addition to his stylistic innovation, influenced later poets. Milton is commemorated in the Temple of British Worthies, Stowe, Buckinghamshire. At the time, poetic blank verse was considered distinct from its use in burst drama, and Paradise Lost was taken as an unique exemplar, said Isaac Watts in 1734. Mr. Milton is esteemed the parent and author of the blank verse among us. Miltonic words might be synonyms of a century with blank verse as poetry and a new poetic terrain independent from both the drama and the heroic couplet. The lack of rhyme was sometimes taken as Milton's defining innovation. He himself considered the rhymeless quality of Paradise Lost to be an extension of his own personal liberty. A second aspect of Milton's blank verse was the use of unconventional rhythm. His blank verse paragraph, his audacious and victorious attempt to combine blank and rhymed verse with paragraphic effect in Lycidas, lay down indescribable models and patterns of English verse rhythm, a distinguished form from the narrower and more straight-laced forms of English meter. Musical setting. Milton's ode at a Solomon Music was set for choir and orchestra as Blessed Pair of Sirens by Hubert Parry, and Milton's poem on the morning of Christ's Nativity was set as a large-scale choral work by Cyril Ruthven. Milton also wrote the hymn Let Us with a gladsome mind, a versification of Psalm 136. His Allegro and Penseroso with additional material was magnificently set by Handel in 1740. Thank you.